There is a deeply personal moment that people only truly encounter. When the day has ended, the noise of work fades. Roles no longer need to be performed. No one is watching or waiting. What remains is a quiet room, a slowing breath, and a mind that begins to speak more than we would like. It is the moment when everything postponed during the day returns. Unresolved worries, unanswered questions, emotions we silenced just long enough to keep moving forward. Many assume that difficulty sleeping is a physical problem. In truth, most restless nights are not caused by bodily fatigue, but by an inner life that has not yet been laid down. We lie in bed while our minds continue to carry tomorrow. We close our eyes while our hearts still cling to today. And the harder we try to force asleep, the tighter the tension becomes. Night, which was meant to be a refuge, becomes the place where human fragility is most clearly exposed. Night was not created for continued control. It is a gentle invitation. Let go. Let go of what you have already given your best to. Let go of what you cannot yet fix. Let go even of the need to understand everything before you are allowed to rest. But letting go is not easy. We are accustomed to holding tightly because holding creates the illusion of safety. Yet real safety does not come from gripping life harder. It comes from knowing we ourselves are being held. The one who keeps watch does not fall asleep. His care does not pause through the night. From the Psalms, this remembered truth touches a deep fear, the fear that, when we rest, everything will slip beyond our grasp. Yet it opens a new order of reality. We do not need to stay awake to protect our lives, because there is a presence who does not grow weary and keeps watch in our place. Letting go at night is not a denial of responsibility. On the contrary, it is an act of maturity. We look honestly at the day that has passed and admit, there are things I did well and things I could not do differently. Both are laid down when we learn to end the day this way. Gratitude begins to emerge, not as a moral obligation, but as a healthy reflex of the soul. Gratitude that we are still here. Gratitude that we were carried through moments we thought we would not endure. Gratitude before sleep does not require the day to have been beautiful. It only asks that the day be honest. Honest in joy and in exhaustion. Honest in moments of strength and moments of weakness. When gratitude is practiced this way, we stop demanding that we be okay in order to deserve rest. We rest because we are human, not because we have met every standard. Something subtle happens. When we begin to release worry at night, the mind is returned to its proper role. During the day, the mind analyzes, plans, and decides. At night, it must be guided to stop working overtime. But the mind does not become quiet by command. It becomes quiet when it is placed within a trust larger than itself. Come when you are weary and burdened. Rest is given as a gift. Jesus' words remembered. This remembered invitation does more than comfort. It redefines rest itself. Rest is not a reward. For those who perform well enough, it is a gift. For those humble enough to admit they are tired, when we enter the night with that humility, sleep is no longer something to be fought for, but something to be received. Letting go of worry before sleep also means Refusing to carry tomorrow into bed, we often steal tomorrow's strength by worrying tonight. Yet this does not prepare us better. It only exhausts us sooner. When we set tomorrow down, not in indifference, but in trust, we allow tomorrow to arrive in its own time, rather than letting it weigh down the present. Some nights, even after we try to let go, the heart remains restless. Old memories surface, vague fears creep in, endless what-ifs refuse to quiet. In those moments, what we need is not more explanation, but inner protection, a peace strong enough to keep the mind from drifting further into unrest. Peace is given to guard the heart and mind beyond human understanding. Paul's words remembered, this peace does not erase thought, but it prevents thought from becoming ruler. It allows the mind to slow, the heart to settle, and the body to release into a new order, the order of trust. When night is lived this way, sleep is no longer collapse from exhaustion, but a conscious placing of oneself into care. We sleep not because everything is resolved, but because everything has been entrusted. And in that entrusting, we return to our natural place, not at the center of control, but within love that holds and protects. As a person learns to let go before sleep, a deeper layer of the night begins to reveal itself. It is no longer only about setting worries aside, but about allowing what has not yet healed to step into the gentle light of care. During the day, we rarely have space to face the small but persistent wounds, words that quietly diminished us, disappointments we minimized, fatigue that accumulated, while we kept telling ourselves we would be fine. At night, when we no longer need to appear fine, these things ask to be acknowledged. Many fear this moment. They worry that if they stop staying busy, pain will overwhelm them. Yet what prolongs pain is not feeling it, but never allowing it to be felt. In a safe space, when lived rightly, the night becomes that space, not a place for endless analysis or self-interrogation, but a place to be present with what is fragile, without threat. Here, healing does not come through effort. It comes through presence. When we allow ourselves to lie still with emotions we have not yet named, something unexpected happens. They stop demanding immediate resolution. They only want to be recognized. And when recognized, with gentleness, they begin to settle in their own time. Dreams, often dismissed as random, belong to this process as well. Not every dream carries clear meaning, but dreams reveal that, even in sleep, the inner life continues its work without strain. When we enter sleep with trust rather than tension, those inner movements become gentler. We do not need to control our dreams. We only need to prepare healthy ground so they are not fed by fear. Forgiveness plays a quiet but crucial role here, not as a lofty moral decision, but as an act of self-care. At night, painful memories often return uninvited. We can resist them, or we can change how we receive them. Forgiveness before sleep does not deny wrongdoing. It refuses to let wrongdoing occupy the space meant for rest. We cannot force memory to disappear, but we can choose not to let memory sit in the driver's seat. This is especially true of self-blame. Many lie down with a silent list of how they fell short, but night is not a courtroom. It is where the soul must rest in order to learn again tomorrow. When we release self-condemnation before sleep. We do not become careless. We become honest about our limits. There is a gentle care that upholds the human heart when it lies down in weakness. Isaiah inspired. This remembered truth helps us see that nighttime weakness is not failure, but an opening. When we stop performing strength, support has room to reach us, and that support does not require understanding, only permission. From here, our relationship with time also changes. By day, time is something to manage, optimize, never waste. By night, time becomes a quiet companion. It does not rush us. It allows. When we let go of worry before sleep, we stop treating time as an enemy. We no longer try to finish everything. Before closing our eyes, we accept that some processes are meant to continue through the night, and that this does not make us irresponsible. There is a form of trust, learned only in darkness, the trust that we do not need to guard ourselves at all times. As the body relaxes, breath slows, and the heart steadies, we enter an order we do not control, yet deeply benefit from. That order reminds us that life does not depend entirely on our alertness. Recognizing this is profoundly liberating. When night is lived this way, morning begins differently, not because problems vanish, but because they are no longer carried as invisible weight from the night before. Those who sleep in surrender often wake with a healthy spaciousness, space enough to receive the new day, instead of being pulled backward by the old one. That space is not empty. It is filled with readiness. At a deeper level, we begin to understand that sleeping peacefully is not merely a psychological skill, but a practice of faith. Faith that life is held beyond our effort. Faith that healing can occur in silence. Faith that we do not need to stay awake in order to deserve care. And in that quiet faith, night ceases to be something to endure. It becomes a patient teacher, a teacher who teaches us how to let go, how to trust, how to rest, not through loud instruction, but through the gentle repetition of nights entrusted again and again. When the night reaches its deepest point, something becomes clear that is difficult to see during the day. We do not sleep merely to restore energy, but to return to our proper place, not the place of controlling everything, not the center of anxious scenarios, but the place of a creature who is being cared for. Learning to let go before sleep is learning that place again, a place humble yet secure. At this depth, healing no longer looks like feeling less pain, but like trusting more, trusting that not everything needs immediate resolution, trusting that some processes unfold only when we stop interfering, trusting that life does not collapse simply because we stop straining for a few hours. This trust is not built through reasoning, but through repeated experience, each night entrusted, each morning received. From there, our relationship with ourselves begins to change. We grow less harsh toward our own pace. We stop interpreting fatigue as failure. We no longer view sleep as time lost, but as an essential part of inner life. When we allow ourselves to rest without self-reproach, we make space for tomorrow to begin without exhaustion. This also shapes how we live while awake. Those who sleep in surrender often rise with a different presence, not rushed, not defensive, not needing to prove as much, not because their problems disappeared, but because they are no longer carrying the residue of the night before. They have space to listen, to choose, to respond more slowly. That space is the quiet fruit of nights that knew how to let go. There is a beautiful paradox here. The more we learn to release at night, the more responsibly we live during the day. When we are not drained by prolonged anxiety, we have more energy for what truly matters. Letting go does not make us indifferent. It makes us clear about limits, clear about what belongs to us, clear about what must be entrusted. At its deepest level, sleeping peacefully becomes a sacred yet ordinary practice. No elaborate ritual is required. No ornate words are needed. Only an inner consent. I allow myself to be held. When that consent is renewed night after night, it quietly rewrites old fear-based reflexes. The mind reacts less. The heart softens. The body relearns the language of safety. One day, we realize that night is no longer an adversary. It is no longer something to get through. It becomes a quiet companion, a companion that reminds us to stop, reminds us we do not carry everything alone, reminds us that life continues even when we are not watching. This relationship is built slowly through each choice to release rather than tighten. The final moment before sleep, then, needs very little thought. It only requires honesty. Honesty about what was done. Honesty about what could not be done. Honesty about the fatigue that is present. When we stop trying to fix ourselves in that moment, prayer emerges naturally, not as a speech, but as breath. Lord, in this stillness, I lay down everything I have carried through the day, what I understood and what I did not, the efforts I gave fully and the limits I could not cross. Let my mind rest from the need to control, and my heart rest from the need to defend itself. While I sleep, do what needs doing in silence. When I wake, let me recognize that I have been kept through the long night. I entrust this night and myself into your loving care. Amen.